Oh, hello, darlings. This is Sully of Antisocial News. I am in Washington, D.C., as I often am while I'm making these little videos here. But I just wanted to give you a little satirical analogy. Well, not satirical. Just to give you a little story here. Back in 2014, a scientist at a university. He is flabbergasted when he sees foaming volatility coming out of a beaker of water, when the only thing added to the beaker of water was a little bit of salt. Now, he has often surmised that salt and water should never mix. A little bit of sodium and water could be very dangerous. That's always been his theory. And now here it is, come to fruition. And he posts a viral video on the internet saying, "Look at this thing that happened when I put pure sodium into H2O. The H2O and sodium became volatile, and there was this bubbling over that happened. And after that, people all around the country were putting H2O and sodium together, and of course not seeing the same result. It just became slightly salty water. And yet they'd be posting those videos going, what an amazing find that this professor found. Surely this will happen when I do it." And when it doesn't, they go, "Well, it's okay. I'm sure it'll happen some other time." And the professor himself says, "Well, I'm sure you did something wrong. I'm sure it's just a fluke that it didn't boil over for you." And everyone agrees with him. They say, "Yes, you are a trustworthy professor. So it must be a fluke when no one can reproduce this situation." And so they start boiling the water. So they boil the water, and now people are doing it in different amounts too. They're going, "Well, let's just use a lot more sodium." Okay, we'll use a lot more sodium. Now let's use a lot more water. A lot more water, a lot more sodium. Let's have the sodium cold and the water cold, the water hot. And then after they do all these different variations, they go, "Oh, let's boil the water." So they boil the water, and then there's bubbles, and they go, "Oh my gosh, look, there's bubbles happening. He's right, the volatility. These two things shouldn't mix." And yeah, that is the law of the land. And now, mind you, sane people saw the video of the water bubbling over, and they said, "You know what? I bet he mixed baking soda with sodium. I think he just got confused," right? And so and that's of course what people find out. They go, "Hey, I think the college should look into it." So the college that he works for sends 50 academic scholars to audit his laboratory. And yes, sure enough, they find a beaker labeled sodium when it's actually sodium bicarbonate. And so people go, "Oh, of course." But the audit also says, while we did find in this one instance that was an interaction between water and sodium bicarbonate, not water and sodium, doesn't mean that sodium and water are not volatile. We're not going to say that. He's made a good case that they are volatile, and we are going to respect his findings. Yeah, they basically put it out there that not only did they disprove what the sorry, I have to text my wife. Okay. Not only did they disprove the original situation, as just being the benign interaction between water and salt, but they also said that we still need to be worried about water and salt mixing, that it could still be a volatile thing. For some reason, they felt the need to double down on that and say that that's something that's a serious concern and problem. And then they said, we're going to include that in the curriculum. And we're not just going to include that in the curriculum for students in college, but we're also going to do that in grade school and let grade school children know that if you mix salt with water, there's going to be a volatile reaction. And even if there are no bubbles and no expanding of liquids or pressures, the inaction is still a reaction. The whole situation, no matter what happens, if you pour salt in water and nothing happens, something still happened. That nothing that happened is still volatility, because it's an inherent volatility. The water and the salt are inherently volatile, and it's a volatile situation when they meet. And you need to teach the children that. So that's the little thing. This is still going on today. We're still getting our children taught about the salt and the water and how they should never mix, how they should never meet, and if they do, it'll be very dangerous. Very dangerous. We all might die because of the horrible volatility of the objects, of the elements mixing, and the dangerous compound that it could create. And you should never let any of the infinite, literally infinite examples of water and salt mixing without it being volatile, you should never let any of those billions upon trillions upon quadrillions upon infinite examples of salt water existing, you shouldn't look at any of those. You need to let the professor's experiment from 2014, which turned out to not be true, define the relationship between salt and water. That's the world we live in right now. And if you know exactly what I'm talking about, feel free to comment.